All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Speak to the Beak. I am Tim the Ferds. I'm joined by Joe Wilson, so that means we got a hockey pod or episode incoming as we speak. Joe, how are you?
I'm good, Tim. How are you?
Well, I'm pretty good, but I'm going to make you feel not as good. So
Oh, yeah.
I told you what we were going to open with, but I decided I wasn't going to tell you the other part. So,
I kind of forgot about
yeah, you kind of forgot, but I don't. I didn't
it.
forget. So, how you feeling after you took the Flyers last week over the Rangers, and then they exploded for another, another W there?
um, I'm not gonna lie, the pick felt really good at the time, and then, yeah, it happened again. I just did not see that coming for sure.
I don't think they. I don't think they kind of shared your view there, where if they were thinking
Yes,
about it, it made them tight. I don't think it made them very tight.
yeah, I don't think they were that mad about it at all to just let it happen again. That's crazy.
You want to?
Uh,
I got a handful of text messages about that, by the way, before I
uh,
even clipped it.
that's,
So listen, they listened to what you're saying, buddy, and they gave you credit. They're like, yeah,
uh,
he's a smart guy, but that was just not a smart move.
yeah, I was a little too confident in that pick for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But I
And
just
I
wanted,
mean, like,
yeah, keep going,
the
buddy. Yeah,
commentary,
issue your
like,
apology.
seemed like a good idea.
All right. Well, either way, I'm just glad that we got maybe not an apology, but he admits that he maybe made a mistake. So
Yeah.
before we start with the rest of our episode here, a couple of things I always tell you to do that we'll continue to tell you to do. Number one, follow Beak Brands, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc. All right, we post all of our content there. We got MLB opening day tomorrow, or by the time you hear this, today. Obviously, hockey's in full swing. Football free agency / draft coverage, so you're going to want to follow Beak Brands. Number two, check out the website, beakbrands.com. Same kind of thing. We got the podcast there. We have written content there. It's a great time. Check out the website. Number three, obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. All right, we got some good stuff incoming. And if you're just an audio only person on Spotify or Apple, make sure you either follow and or subscribe to the podcast and give us a rate and review, on Apple. Help us out. Share with your friends. That's a big part. We're going to need you to help us spread the gospel. All right, and we got some pretty good stuff. We're not always going to violate Joe on Instagram, but like last week, we just had to do it because of the circumstances. So we'll also post some good things if you follow on Instagram as well. So that's kind of what we got for stuff we have to take care of. But for today, we're going to be mainly talking about NHL trade deadline stuff. Deadline is about 11-ish days away, maybe 10 by the time you listen to it. Could be 9. I don't know when you're listening or watching. But we got some time. But it is always not like give a little primer for what we got going on. So before we start with the trade stuff, Joe, there was a pretty significant injury for the Florida Panthers. Aaron Ekblad, got stretchered off the ice. Didn't look too fabo, if you ask me. He's going to be out for about 12 weeks. So, Joe, he's got 22 points on the season. Do you think that the Ekblad injury is going to do the Panthers in the long run?
Yeah, that's a really negative injury to have happen at this point of the season, especially coming up on playoff time because, shortened season, we're past the halfway point. And the Panthers have been doing really well this season, and it's a really huge loss for their team.
Do you think he's their best player, or would you say that's Barkov?
No, that's Barkov for sure. But even he's hurt right now too. So they're really going through it right now. But defensively, yeah, definitely the best player, and he's even like better than good amount of their forwards too, offensively.
Yeah, he's a big factor for them. He has 22 points on the year. He averages over 25 minutes of ice time a game, so he's out there for a significant portion of the game. That leaves them with Gustav Forsling, Mackenzie Weegar, Keith Yandel, Radko Gudas, and Anton Strawman as their notable defensemen. So, do you think this kind of forces them to make a trade for a defenseman? Or do you think they're okay with what they got and hope they can hold on until he comes back?
I mean, I feel like they definitely will just hope and just wait for him to come back next season, because I don't think they really had like a cup run going for them this season, but like they're definitely doing solid. So like if they wanted to get farther in the playoffs this season, they could make a trade, but it's going to be tough because he's just such a big part of their team, as you said, 25 minutes a night on the ice, and none of those defensemen that you just listed could like step up on the power play like he's been doing on the all season long.
Yeah, I mean, so they're currently tied for first with Tampa in the Central Division. They do have one more game played, but still, I mean, they're a good team. I think they're currently, I want to say they're locked in, and we're going to talk about Nashville later because they've just been like scorching hot the past couple of weeks. But I think they're going to end up making a move. Even if it's not for like a top defenseman, if it's just someone to add a little depth in there.
Yeah.
Or like you said, maybe it could be, a bottom six forward with some upside just to help replace some of that offense they're going to be missing with him. You're not going to fix what he brings you in terms of ice time or in terms of, what he does on the power play, but you could try to make a little patch here or there and hopefully you're still in it when he comes back.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of
I agree with that.
Bad injury for them, bad timing.
Definitely.
So a couple other things before we, play a little puck out of here. Patrick Marleau is now second all time in games played in NHL history. So where does he stand for you? I mean, we kind of had this discussion over text. You were like, for a guy with so many games played, he's not that high in points. But by the time he retires, realistically, he'll be like top 40.
Yeah, but like, come on. Most game, like he's gonna get like most games played this season, but like top 40 for like scoring, like it's not that impressive, is it?
No, but I don't think. So this is just like a philosophical thing, I guess, that I have going on for me. Not everyone is Wayne Gretzky, where they're putting up like insane points every night. You know what I mean? Like, for this guy to play that long and be one of the top, 40 most scoring NHL players of all time is still pretty impressive.
Yeah, I guess I'm being a little harsh on him. I guess you're right.
Because like when he was in his prime with San Jose, was he even the best player on their own team? Like I thought Joe Thornton would be that guy.
Yeah, no. I'm looking at his career stats and like they're like solid, but it's not like really anything impressive. I'm seeing the highest point total is 86 in 05-06. Like it's not like it's good. It's like pretty solid for that year, but like it's not outstanding.
Yeah, but I think he's allowed to be like an above average player and not like amazing. You're out here like, yeah, this guy played mad games. He should be like blowing everybody away.
I just wish like it's just like seeing everything on social media is like hyping him up. Like, yeah, it's crazy, but like he's all right.
Well, I think you got a bad taste in your mouth too, because you're watching currently old, washed up Patrick Marleau. Like he's got close to nothing left in the tank right now.
Yeah, definitely the last like 4 years. He's been tough to watch with him for sure.
So he's actually been open to being traded to a contender. He's got 6 points.
Of course.
Do you think anyone would take him?
I mean, not for his on ice ability. I wouldn't suggest a contender to do that at all. But for the locker room presence, I'm sure that's probably really huge for him. He's probably really good like coach for some of the young guys on like the good teams. So I mean, if they wanted to do that, they absolutely could. If they don't have a lot of veteran leadership on their team.
A young team could probably use him. That's making a playoff push.
Yeah.
think maybe Carolina could take him on like their bottom line. Yeah, just
Possible.
yeah, throwing him out there. Remember, they traded for Justin Williams a couple of years ago, and they were making that push, and he was running on empty too, and he provided them with a little bit of a spark.
Yeah, but then didn't they make him their captain? That was kind of
Eventually, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't think Marleau.
No, he doesn't have that much left. Williams had a little bit more, but just throwing that out there. He's not a part of our players we're going to discuss for trades, but it's just good to note. A little thing going on for him.
Definitely a possibility.
Yeah. And then last thing before we play puck out of here. So Eric Staal got moved to Montreal, like, of course, right after we recorded last week. They got a third and a fifth for him. So, in my opinion, that pretty much means they gave Eric Staal away. So, do you think that solidifies Montreal as the 4 spot? I know you took them last week in your kind of playoff predictions. They just played their first game finally again from that COVID break yesterday, which if you're listening on Thursday would then be 2 days ago. Do you think that locks them into that spot? Because I did see they have to play 25 games in 43 days, which is not ideal.
Yeah, for sure. Because honestly, looking at their forward lineup right now, it's not horrible. Like without him in it, and with Tyler Toffoli on the IR, it's still a pretty solid top 6, and even their third line's not too horrible. So once he gets over there and goes through all the COVID protocol nonsense, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're solidified for definitely making the playoffs in that division.
Yeah, I think the one thing that really helped them, even besides the Staal trade, obviously it's a big trade for them, like we said before, and as in hockey especially, having that veteran leadership for the playoffs, it's a grind and it gets a lot more physical. So I think having a guy like that is really important to have. But I think the thing that's most important for them, to be completely honest, is the fact that they haven't been playing any games, and they're still in 4th place because no one else in their division can win a game.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Totally they haven't played a game in over 10 days, and they're still in 4th place.
Because the Jets and Toronto have just been playing really well of late. I'm pretty sure Winnipeg's been beating Calgary really just all the time, and Ottawa always beats Calgary too. You know that.
Yeah, I know that well. Thanks. So if you're looking at it right now, Montreal 32 games played, so they have about 5 or 4 games in hand, depending on what team you're looking at. They are in 4th place. They have 5 games in hand on Calgary, and they have 4 more points. Same with Vancouver, actually. So, just throwing it out there. I think Joe might have hit that one on the head, but Staal really solidified it for them. No doubt about that.
Could even sneak into the 3 spot if you really want to throw out some possibilities. Overtake Edmonton.
That division's pretty tight. There's only 8 points that separate 1st from 4th place. So they're all kind of bunched up in there. So I don't think anything is to be determined there with the seeding, but I don't know. Montreal made a good pick up there. Just for sure. Something to note. So all right, let's play the game. Puck out of here, or I puck with it. Joe knows how to play. If you're a loyal listener, you know how to play. If you're new, I ask Joe a question, and he pretty much gives me an answer, whether he pucks with it or he tells me to puck out of here. Last week, 3 puck out of here's. So I tried to step up the game a little bit, see if we can get something that Joe agrees with. So we're going to start off with Nashville. And we mentioned before that they really have been surging of late. They're 8-2 in their last 10. And me and Joe had a conversation, I want to say, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, where I was just so confused because I didn't understand why they were so bad. They have good players on their team. I'm just being straight up. They were bad. They were in 7th place. They were bad. And I didn't understand it. It didn't make any sense to me. Because when you look at their team on paper, they're just really good. I guess it just didn't come together for them, or they got off to a slow start, or whatever it was. But right now, they've surged all the way from 2nd to last place to in a tie for 4th place in the division at the time of this recording, 39 points. So, if I asked you a couple weeks ago, you probably would have said they're trading everyone. But as of right now, the question is, does Nashville hold on to all of the following players? Michael Granlund, Ryan Ellis, Matthias Ekholm, and Philip Forsberg. Do you think they keep all of them?
Like I can't like, oof. I'm gonna say puck out of here for that, because like I want to say that they would trade at least one of them just because like this surge is so late in the season, and like I really feel like out of those it would be Ekholm that would get traded just based on age and how he's a defenseman, how like teams that are like definitely wanting to go far, definitely going to look to add as they get closer to like the trade deadline. So I feel like out of all of them, he would be the one to get traded. But as you said, 8-2 in their last 10, they're on a 6-game winning streak. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't trade anyone at this point.
Yeah.
But I think that like the chances that like they keep everyone are like a lot slimmer than just like trading like one person out of them.
So you're just taking the odds percentages there is what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
You think if they did fall out of it, or they hit a tough spot in the schedule, or they just decided they want to trade some guys, do you think they would trade Ekholm in division to Florida? Because normally in regular alignment they're not in the same conference. Nashville's in the West and Florida's in the East. So just for this year they're in the same division. Do you think they'd trade him quote unquote in division?
That would be kind of fire for Florida. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it would.
Like honestly, it wouldn't like hurt just because like this season is weird with these like divisions and stuff. So like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it wouldn't doom them long term. Like you wouldn't be stuck facing this guy like 15 times a year or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So like, that'd be smart for Florida to try to do that.
Yeah, if they could pull it off. Now you got to convince Nashville to trade. I actually don't think they trade any of these 4 guys. Because you know how sports are. It's more of a what have you done for me lately? And lately, they have been, like, scorching hot. Like, the games haven't even been close. They've just been killing everyone. I was surprised when Forsberg's name was still coming up. Like, I would only trade him if you ended up being, like, Detroit bad. And he, like, wasn't going to re-sign with you. And it's just like, we just need to blow up the whole team. So I didn't think they were going to trade him to begin with. But the way they're playing, I can't see them trading these guys. But like Joe said, they could trade one of them, keep the other 3, which would make the question invalid for me anyway. But just throwing that out there. Let's go to the second question here. So, obviously there are a couple teams that could use a goalie. Right? Capitals could be one of them. Avalanche could be one of them. Penguins could be one of them. So here's another question with 3 teams here. Caps, Avs, Penguins, all looking for a goalie. Do either of those 3 teams acquire an impact goalie? And if yes, who do you think their target is?
I puck with that question a lot because I feel like especially Colorado and Pittsburgh both need better goaltending for like going on a cup run. I think honestly Washington, they're kind of set with Samsonov and Danasek, I'm pretty sure his last name is. He's having a solid rookie season, so I don't think they really need to like worry about that. But for the Avalanche or Pittsburgh, maybe not as much Pittsburgh because it's like the same division thing. The Columbus Blue Jackets goaltenders, either Jonas Corposalo or Elvis I'm not going to pronounce his last name. But yeah, or their other goaltender. I can see either one of them being traded because over like the past few seasons, they just like both of them have been solid. It's just like, just depends on which one's outplaying the other at the point in time. So I think one of those 2 or Anton Khudobin from the Dallas Stars. Yeah. I think he's also another person to look at.
I'm glad you brought him up. So what makes it a little bit easier for these trades is that the Avalanche and Penguins obviously in different divisions, and the teams that might be sellers don't, for goalies anyway, don't play in the same division that they play in, for the most part. So I like how you brought up Khudobin. He would be my number 2 guy, right? So the Stars may or may not trade him. Like Ben Bishop's coming back. They had their rookie kind of breakout this year, and he's protected from the expansion draft, which means they could lose Khudobin to the expansion. So I think that's what makes him a trade piece, is that he's super solid, and obviously they don't want to lose him for nothing. The reason I have Pittsburgh on here, though, is because Jari went down the other night. I don't know what his injury is still, but if they lost him, like, I think they need a goalie, like, right now.
Yeah, DeSmith's kind of like trash. Not to be mean.
I don't think he's just the kind of guy you want kind of heading your goaltending going into the playoffs.
Yeah, like, he kills the Islanders, but, like, against, like, other teams, yeah, it's not... Like, you see DeSmith in that, it's kind of a joke.
Yeah. The other guy, though, who'd be my number one choice is Darcy Kemper.
Oh, I was thinking that, or Devin Dubnyk, but Devin Dubnyk's having a whole season.
Yes, he is. That's why I went with Kemper. So Kemper has finished in the top 7 of the Vezina voting the past, like, 2 or 3 seasons. He is currently injured, which is why if I was the Avalanche, I would do whatever it takes to get this guy on my team. All right, you have Grubauer. He's your number 1 goalie. He's been elite this year. Every statistical category, he's pretty much at the top or like second or third. He's top 3 in almost every category there is. You did pick up Johansson from Buffalo to be the backup. Listen, if you have a chance to get Darcy Kemper, because Grubauer has gotten hurt the past 2 seasons, that's kind of buried them in the playoffs. If you could pick up Kemper to be your 2 to Grubauer, I think I don't know about hands down, but they have a top 3 goaltending duo immediately going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Maybe top 5.
All right, so who else would you rather take? I'm assuming you're still on the Fleury and Leonard train.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Just pull up these other teams that have solid tendies.
So you got the 2 of them, but the Avalanche are right there with Vegas. Like we talked, was it last week? Yeah, we talked last week about how that was like the big difference between those 2 teams. If they pulled off a trade for Kemper, that would really close the gap on that like one major advantage.
Yeah, I agree. Top 3. Yeah, I agree.
Joe is like, let me just check these other ones. Ranta might also be available, who also plays for the Coyotes, but he is also injured. And his timeline's kind of up in the air on top of that, so, like, you might be traded for damaged goods. Kemper is week to week. They said he might be back in the next, like, 10 days. So, listen, that's pretty much when the trade deadline is.
Yeah, and Ronta's kind of like, too. Kind of like,
he's up and down.
That guy that's gonna back up.
He's up and down. Do you think Ryan Miller or Jonathan Bernier get traded?
No. I saw, I think we're talking about the same list, honestly. But, no, I don't think they do. I think Ryan Miller's too old for anyone to want him. And then, honestly, I never thought Bernier was like a solid goaltender to have on your team, in my opinion. I just always thought he was just not good.
I feel like goalie's one of those positions, though, where if you get a guy in a year that he's hot, it might be time to acquire him if you're trying to make a cup run. Because, like, hot goaltenders in the playoffs are a different animal. Not saying that he's like that type of level guy, but he is playing well.
Bernier's playing well?
This year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, compared to his career, like, what he normally does, yeah.
Well, yeah, he's kind of like hot Garbo.
He's hot Garbo. Joe just out here flaming everyone. He's still mad about the Flyers last week, apparently. He's holding the grudge against everyone.
Honestly, like, that night, I don't think I've been more mad at, like, a regular season hockey game that, like, wasn't for the Islanders in a while. Just because I originally, like, don't even like the Flyers, and, like, you lose 9-0, and then, like, you're not even mad about it. Like, they're just like, all right, we'll let it happen again. And it's fine.
Oh, man.
Just,
I know. Sure. Yeah, Joe's bringing it to this episode. Maybe I'll let it go by next week. All right, last question here. So, it's a simple question to wrap it up. The Islanders make an impact move at the deadline, even if it's just for a rental.
I puck with it heavily because being biased, it's just like all I ever want to happen.
Oh yeah, trust me, I know.
Yeah, we talk about it a good amount, but yeah, I'd say I puck with it because like if Lou doesn't realize that we need like a score now after just getting dropped by Pittsburgh like back-to-back games, like I don't know like what's gonna let you know because we can't beat Pittsburgh or Washington this season, so
Correct.
trying to acquire someone to help out that top six, tough.
So who do you think they go for? I know who you want, but who do you think
Uh,
they go for?
who do they go for? I'd say like Kyle Palmieri. I'd say
Okay.
that's a really safe pick to say for someone that they like would go after. I mean, Lou acquired him for New Jersey back back in the day, so it's definitely possible again.
Yeah, and he's got a little rep over there. I think if they were going to
Yeah.
go after someone, it was the guy I texted you about yesterday. It's Nick Foligno, and I'll tell you why. He has 13 points on the year, expiring contract, 33 years old. The reason the Islanders would go after him is for one reason only. He is the most boring, solid two-way player I have ever seen that does not currently play for the Islanders. He would fit in beautifully with the rest of our other, 9 forwards that all they do is back check and pass the puck to Barzal. He would fit in so well with them. Just play defense and
Yeah.
pass the puck to our one guy who can actually play.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind that move. That's like he's boring. Like,
That's an Islander move. That's
It
a
is an Islander.
100% poverty franchise Islander move right there. All right, so who do you want? I know who you want, but tell the people, who would you like if you could have anyone out there that's not like Jack Eichel, like a realistic candidate? Who would you want them to go get?
I wanted Richard Raquel out of anyone just because he's from Anaheim and like he's like younger, he's like really just I think he's really underrated. I don't have his. I think he has 22
points. Yep.
Yeah, that's solid. 7 goals, 22 points. That's pretty good. And put him next to like Matt Barzal. Like they'd be insane. I mean, Kyle Palmieri also. I would really enjoy to see him on the team. Taylor Hall, like obviously his name's in the air with everything. I don't know. I feel like he's like low key at locker room cancer because every team he goes to just becomes bad in some way. Like Arizona, when he went there, they weren't that bad, and then he went there, left, and like now they're trash. So Sabres haven't won a game in like a month and a half. Trash.
Yeah, but they're a clown show to begin with. I don't put the Sabres on him.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But
I actually brought this up with one of my other buddies. Shout out Alex West right here. So we were talking about the Taylor Hall things. I know me and you kind of brought it up off air, where every team he goes to, they just get bad like immediately the second he shows up there. Yeah. And pretty much what we concluded is that like when he played with McDavid that one year, he put up like really good numbers because I think everyone was just focused on McDavid. And he was able to like do his thing. And after every team that signs him thinks they're getting like that guy. But now that he has to play on the top line by himself, like those explosive games that he has are, fewer and far between because he's out there playing by Eichel's hurt. Has he done anything since Eichel has gotten hurt? I think this guy has 2 goals on the season.
Yeah, that's fair, but didn't he have like a really good season on the Devils not playing with anyone? Like, didn't he win something?
Yeah, I thought he had an incredible year with New Jersey. We could fact check that real quick. Sorry, people. This is the only part that stinks about doing the live discussion here. So, let's see. Taylor Hall.
He won the Hart. Yeah, he won the Hart Trophy in, when was that? 26?
Yeah, no. 2017, 2018. All-Star Game, Hart Trophy. 93 points, 54 assists, 39 goals. He was plus 14.
Where did that guy go?
But it's weird because if you look at his, like, that's a big outlier for him. Like, let me just tell you his points by season 42, 53, 50, 80, 38, 65, 53, 93, 37, 52, and then he's got 18 this year. So that 93 for like most of his career is almost double like every other season except for like 2.
Yeah, because he's also like he used to get hurt all the time too.
Yeah, that
Still,
too. Well, going
but
back to
yeah,
the
and plus,
question, yeah,
bad
I
ones.
hope the Islanders pick up Raquel, but I just don't think they'll do it.
Yeah, me neither.
That's a shame. Big shame.
But Palmieri and Foligno, I'd say are two of the more realistic ones for sure.
Yeah, I think Palmieri, especially because Lou knows him. He's got that relationship with New Jersey. I feel like that's a guy they could go after. It's just, does New Jersey want to help us? That's the question.
That'd be mean if they didn't, for sure.
Would be mean, but I wouldn't blame them. All right, so let's move on here. Obviously, we'll have more trade talks and reactions as we get some more trades in the NHL. We just wanted to give you a brief kind of primer for some moves that we thought could happen. So now it's time to wet the beak. All right, this is the big part of the show. We make some picks here. Now, Joe didn't have the best week last week with the Flyers pick, as we've noted, but he did win his other game. So we are currently 11-9 on the season as a collective whole. I won with the Caps, but of course, Tampa didn't beat Dallas for like the 6th consecutive time. I guess they were due to win one. So, with that being said, these are going to be our picks for April 1st. How exciting. We're into the month of April. Now, it is MLB opening day. But don't worry, we still have the hockey stuff that you can watch at the same time. You got the dual TVs. You got one here, you got one here. Hockey and baseball at the same time. So, Joe, why don't you take it first here? It's your turn to pick first. I picked first last week. What do you got?
So for my first pick, I like we were talking about the Predators before. I like the Predators plus 108 against Dallas tomorrow. Dallas lost the last 3, 3, and 4 in their last 10. Really just haven't picked it up for me. When I said that they would make the playoffs, it's not looking too good on that either. But Nashville's won 6 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10. I think when a team's hot, you just gotta keep thinking that they're gonna win. So I like that a lot for tomorrow.
And they're on the plus side of the money line, which I'm actually surprised about.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's a shame that your Dallas pick there isn't going to come through, but at least one of us will be right. Just throwing that out right there. That's all right. It's all right. No, it was a good pick. It was a good pick. My first game is going to be the Caps plus 108 against the Islanders. How the Capitals are on the plus side of the money line here, I have no idea. But listen, this is my philosophy. You take the better team, and in my opinion, the Capitals are the better team when they're on the plus side of the money line every time. Washington 8-2 in their past 10. They are 3-0 against the Islanders. Islanders have been on a bit of a downtick since Anders Lee has gotten injured. Like Joe said before, every time they play Pittsburgh or Washington, they cannot beat them. So I'm going to take the Capitals as my number 1 pick.
Word.
He's just like, yeah, picking against our team. Good job. Listen,
yeah. I can't confidently pick against them because they just win. Sure, I'll be happy they win, but then I'll just be like, I should not have said that.
Yeah.
But for my second game, I like Pittsburgh plus 112 against the Bruins, with the Bruins having Pastrnak out and Craig Smith out. So I like it a lot because they're plus 112, a lot of value for your money. And just because I don't see Boston winning with those 2 main top 6 forwards out.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of noted before that Boston's like a heavy team, like top heavy team. So without him, that's a big chunk of their offense right there. With my last pick, I'm gonna pick the troll Joe Wilson pick here. So we're gonna go Rangers minus 210 against the Sabres. Listen, I don't care about the stats. Buffalo is terrible. The Rangers are playing pretty well right now, which makes me very upset to say that, but I try to be unbiased, unlike Joe here. Do I think they'll beat them 9-0? I do not, but I do think they'll come out on top. And while we're here with Buffalo real quick, just to throw this in there, it's currently 7 p.m. on the dot. They face off against the Flyers at 7:30 tonight, which is Wednesday, March 31st. And if they lose the game, they will have set the NHL's all-time longest losing streak at 19 games?
Ruh-roh.
Oh, man. Yeah. I was right. So, obviously, they'll be listening to this after the game is over. Do you think they win tonight?
Nah, I have money on them, so I hope so.
Yeah, there's no way they're winning tonight. There's no way. There's no way. They got to take it. They got to take home the crown.
Because they're playing the Flyers, like, that's why I put money on.
They do have a chance. The Flyers are a good team to lay an egg. Obviously, Rangers fans know that pretty well.
For sure.
If the Flyers...
Yeah.
How embarrassing... All right, so hold on. What's more embarrassing? Buffalo setting the all-time losing streak record, or Philly letting Buffalo beat them to avoid it?
No, it'd have to be... No, yeah, it'd have to be setting the all-time lose. Yeah, that's poor. Losing, 9-0, 8-3, and then letting a team who's lost 18 straight win their first game against you in the single season, that's tough too. But yeah, definitely setting the records. That's the worst.
Yeah, for me, it's also the record. But if I was a player on the Flyers and we lost to them after what's been going on lately, like with both teams, I would be, like, so far gone, like, so far past livid. Like, no. I could not let it happen.
Yeah, Claude Giroux would be fuming.
Oh, he'd kill someone. He'd literally kill someone. He would just find some random person in the stands and be like, we're killing this person. It doesn't matter if he's on the team or not. Like, he'll just kill anyone. He's a super fiery guy.
I agree for sure.
All right, so let's wrap it up here. What do you got for your game of the weekend? Remember, we try to turn our casuals into diehards and our random fans into casuals. So what's your game here?
My game of the weekend is going to be Islanders versus Flyers on Saturday. I like this game. It's a huge in-division game for the Islanders, who just lost 2 in a row to Pittsburgh. Might possibly lose tomorrow to the Capitals, so I think that they would have to bounce back against the Flyers. Have to. So I think that's going to be a really good game to watch, as the Flyers also need to at least try to keep winning games to maybe make a push for the 4 spot.
So as an Islander fan, you really want the Flyers to win tonight.
I mean, yeah, but, like, it's also the Flyers, so, like, I think the Islanders have it in the bag, too.
Well, last week after 2 weeks ago, when the Flyers got embarrassed the first time by the Rangers, the Islanders got to play them the next day, and they lost.
Yeah, but then we beat them 6-1, like a couple days later. So.
We did, but they got their anger out the first time. Let's just not
You're
even...
right, you're right. That does... By what you're saying, then yes, I would want Philly to win for the Islanders to win, but, like, for me to win money, I want the Sabres to win.
Okay,
tonight, so.
I got you. You're all on the Buffalo Sabres train there. My pick is going to be Blackhawks Predators. They are currently tied, as of this recording, for 4th place in their respective division, which would be the Central. Obviously, a lot of star power in this game. We kind of mentioned the guys the Predators have. Obviously, we know Blackhawks, Patrick Kane, and Friends. I mean, they do have some other guys, but he's like the main cog of their team there. And like me and Joe said right earlier, this is almost coming down to, it looks like Dallas isn't going to have enough of a push unless they pull a Nashville and win 8-10. So, listen, these games between the Blackhawks and the Predators are going to decide that final playoff spot, most likely. And I think that'll be a really good game to watch.
Solid. I agree.
Joe nods in agreement. Yeah, he's there with us. So that's going to wrap it up for us. Remember, quick reminder, follow Beak Brands, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can follow Joe at JoeWilson24 with 2 E's. You can follow me at Tim Ferdinand. Check out the website, beakbrands.com. And obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. Or if you're listening on audio only, subscribe and or follow to the Speak to the Beak podcast on Apple and Spotify. On YouTube, it's the Beak Branch channel where Speak to the Beak podcast is posted. All right, so that's what we got. Next week, we'll come out here with some, extra trade talk for the NHL. Hopefully we get some more moves by then, give you our reaction, maybe some more opinion. We'll see what we got. But for right now, I think that's what we got for today, Joe. Anything else to add?
No, I think that wraps it up. Solid
I think
episode.
that wraps it up. For the people at home, Joe will be out of quarantine this weekend, so we'll be back to our normal setup. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. He's a trooper for doing the whole COVID podcast thing. We like him for that. But until next week, we're out of here.